We don't even use the word neutrality because we're not neutral when it comes to Gaza or the atrocities inflicted or the attack against Lebanon. So we use the term centrality. It means that we are not tied to this particularly any particular ideological position or superpower, but we do express our feelings, our position strongly, consistent with the our policies on human rights, on abuse, and atrocities inflicted against so many minorities elsewhere. Despite of all the issues, geopolitical concerns against countries, including Russia in many ways, we take a very independent view. I mean, I told my colleagues in ASEAN, look, Russia is an important player, not only on the issue of energy, but it is a major power. It has proven itself the capacity to be to excel in many new technology, in digital, AI, etc. I think we should benefit from the experience and work with them. So that is why we continue with this ASEAN-Russia dialogue and cooperation with the intention to enhance the collaboration further. How do you then condone position taken by a country like Israel and then backed by the United States to attack another independent nation or country? And the repercussions is spread all over the Gulf and now the international community. I'm not talking about the hardship, the economic hardships because of the war. I'm talking about the core principle. Do we condone this, or can we allow this sort of hypocrisy to persist in this more modern civilized world? That's why we took a very strong position against the initial attack by the Zionist Israeli regime. I have publicly commended and thanked President Putin and President Xi Jinping for taking a position for peace and to condemn the atrocities against the people of Iran, and now Gaza, or earlier Gaza, and now to Lebanon. And the hypocrisy of many of these countries in the West is so startling that, and it is really unfortunate that the world keep rather silent on this. Even on decision like when Iran went ahead in their response and inflicted some issues, problems for the neighboring countries. Fair to comment, fair to criticize, fair to appeal to Iran. But why is there complete silence when it comes to the atrocities, the aggression against Iran? As you know, number one trading investment partner with Malaysia is still the United States. There's a huge, phenomenal growth in terms of trade investments with China, for example. But there's also enormous potential with Russia, which is growing but relatively untapped. And from digital to AI to cybersecurity to digital to modern agriculture, but these are all areas that we need to explore. I'm of course extremely thankful to President Putin, who's given a very, very supportive view on this, and even the rise of Tatarstan in my discussions, where we could enhance our bilateral relations. And we have got teams now going to not only facilitate but accelerate the process. I'm of course very grateful because when Malaysia was nominated to be a partner, this was actually moved by President Putin himself and supported by President Xi Jinping. And so I think it's a good sign that at that time Ethiopia and India all endorsed that. So I think there was this general consensus that Malaysia should be more active in BRICS. In order to cement that sort of a formidable relationship between countries and societies, of course trade, investments, but it's also in the field of culture, the arts and humanities. Of course exchanging students, youth, getting civil society to collaborate further, research in various fields, but the literature, the arts is important, particularly Russia. Despite of all this crave for new technology and advance in science and space, Russia has strong foundation in terms of literature. I remember speaking with President Putin, where I referred and quoted Tolstoy and Chekhov, and I saw him, clearly something so excited with the fact that somebody in a remote country, Malaysia, would be quite familiar with this. But I think this is important. Today, I referred to Abdullah Tukay, who was one of the great giant poet from Kazakhstan. And I think, Tatarstan, I'm sorry. So I think this is important because then people, you understand societies, humanities. Such an experience would be less like Stalinist or some of the more ruthless regimes that do not tolerate this. But how can you actually try and cancel, let's call it cancel culture or whatever, in this modern age? And people can think and reflect. If it is plain propaganda, it will not be that successful, cannot penetrate the soul and the heart. But these are great literary works of world literary giants. To me, certainly unique. You can read and reread the classics, and it still is powerful.